Hello, and welcome to Solving for the Undefined podcast. I'm your host, Johanna, founder of Miss Kuiper's Classroom, the place that equips teachers and parents in helping students struggling with on-grade level math. But it's not always about the numbers, and that's why I'm here, bringing you the formulas to solve your problems, math and otherwise, and helping students gain confidence in academic abilities. And that's what you can count on. Hello. Welcome to episode 3 of Solving for the Undefined podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today, the final episode of my launch. Of course, you'll get a new episode next week, but still super exciting, and I'm so glad you are here. I wanted to address why I started a podcast. Why does a math teacher want to start a podcast? And of course, I had many reasons for doing that. As a teacher and entrepreneur, my overall goal in life is to equip parents and teachers who have students struggling with on-grade level math gain confidence in their academic abilities. That is the overall reason. But when I first, back in September of 2020, decided, I want to start a podcast, this was not my main reason. Back in September/October of 2020, I had the idea that I wanted to start a podcast. I had recently just launched my blog. I took Shannon Mattern's 5-day website challenge, which turned into a multiple month challenge for me because I am a perfectionist and was worried about launching my website without everything being absolutely perfect. But done, not perfect, has become my motto because I have a lot I want to achieve in life, and everything will not be perfect, but it'll at least be done and good and solid. After I had launched my blog, my mindset was, what's next? What can I do next to further my business, to further my dreams, and to help more people? What can I do? And so as I was listening to someone else's podcast about content planning, they were talking about repurposing content from a blog post to a podcast episode to a Facebook post to an Instagram post to a YouTube video, all those different things. And I was like, wow, that's smart. I need to do that. As I was researching how to start a podcast, my main reason was repurposing content. Taking blog posts I had done, Instagram posts that I had done, and create it into a podcast episode. And so in my research, I came across this person in a Facebook group. Her name is Sabrina, and she was offering at the time a 30-minute podcast brainstorm session type thing. I took her up on her offer. We set a time to meet up on Zoom, and we chatted about why I wanted to start a podcast. And I was like, I want to repurpose content. And she was like, okay, that's a fantastic idea. Why else do you want to start a podcast? And it took me a second because that had been my main reason. But thinking about it, I was like, well, I've always really enjoyed public speaking. I don't think I'm too shabby at it. But I sometimes feel like when I'm talking, I have this fear that people don't care about what I have to say, that it's unimportant, that it's meh, that I'm not a good storyteller, that people just don't care. And I wanted to overcome that fear. And launching a podcast where people will literally hear me speak, I felt was a good way to face and confront that fear that people don't care about what I want to say, which is a decent reason to start a podcast, but that doesn't give you a direction in which to go with a topic, with a genre. What do you want to say? So she helped me dive a little deeper, and we talked about my business, Miss Kuiper's Classroom. And my goal in Miss Kuiper's Classroom, as I stated earlier, is to equip parents and teachers who have students struggling with on-grade level math gain confidence in their academic abilities. So we dove into that idea. With that, it brought me back to my first year of teaching. So my first year of teaching at our middle school that I taught at used a curriculum that was pretty gnarly. And I mean that in the sense that Oregon uses Common Core state standards, and this curriculum was around before Common Core state standards. It's a lot of inquiry, investigation-based projects, which I think is fabulous. I really enjoy that type of learning. However, when Common Core became a thing, that curriculum just decided to take all of their lessons and kind of slap on Common Core standards, so that way they could be a Common Core state standard-based curriculum, when in fact they are not, because every single lesson that they have corresponds to so many different standards and never actually fully teaches any of the standards. What my teaching partner and I had to do was literally create our own stuff for every single lesson. Yes, we used some of the pieces from the curriculum because investigative learning, I feel as a teacher and for my students, works super well. I've always thought and really enjoyed the idea that who knows the Pythagorean theorem best? Probably Pythagoras, because he discovered it. So, my teaching partner and I had to create a lot of activities, lesson plans on our own because the curriculum did not support our students in the way that they needed. And that's the reason why I started Miss Kuiper's classroom in the first place. Because when I was searching things like Teachers Pay Teachers or Better Lesson or Google and Pinterest in general, I was not finding what I needed to help my students be successful. I needed specifically scaffolded activities to engage them, but also because I have a wide range of academic abilities within my classroom. I get a lot of students in my classroom who come in at a second grade math level, third grade math level, as well as some students who come in ready for 8th grade level material. But I needed activities that would engage and educate students in that entire range. Yes, I can use differentiation. Yes, I can use centers. Yes, I have lots of ideas that I can use. I am a fan of finding the easiest and most productive way to do anything. So I created resources that helped students gain confidence in their academic abilities, no matter where they came from in terms of math or reading or language. They came in and they could learn. That is a reason why I started this podcast, was to be able to share what I have learned, what I have seen, and equip teachers and parents to help students in their lives who need those extra supports because they're not coming into 8th grade math or Algebra 1 ready to go for 8th grade math or Algebra 1. Another reason why I started this podcast was because I hate when people say they are bad at math. You can ask anyone who knows me well. Anytime I see a movie or TV show or anybody reference that, like, I hate math, or I'm not good at whatever it is, that just makes me very upset. Because this might just be because I have worked on myself in the manner of making sure I have a growth mindset, because I know how limiting a fixed mindset can be for myself, let alone anyone. And I want everyone to have that feeling that they can do anything they want. They just have to work at it. And I feel like anyone can do math. Yes, I mean anyone. There is no such thing as a math brain. It is determined by having the right experiences, having high expectations, and having a growth mindset that you can achieve not only math, but anything you want. With this comes a story of me, myself, and I having an experience where I struggled with math. And it's okay to struggle with math. That is not a problem. It's the mindset around it that irks me. It's the mindset around it that needs help. In college, my degree was in secondary math education. And the way that worked at my university was you had to take all of the math courses to get a math degree, minus one class math history, which I feel like would have been a pretty sweet class to take. And then all of the secondary education classes. So basically almost double majoring at this point. And then with all of those math classes, you didn't just take ones that would be relevant to the classes you would be teaching as a secondary educator, but also the ones that would apply to a collegiate level math class. So I had to take Calculus 1, Calculus 2, Calculus 3, Calculus 4. And fun fact, I had to take Calculus 2 and 4 at the exact same time without having taken Calculus 3. That's a story for another time. I had to take discrete mathematics, abstract algebra, higher geometry, and a bunch of other classes that I think I erased from my brain. With some of those classes, especially as I was getting towards the end of my college time as a senior, there was 2 classes that I struggled with. And I say struggled as like, I went into that class and it sounded like a foreign language to me. That's how much I struggled with that class. As a person looking back on that experience, I did not hate math. I hated the way that I felt because I didn't understand the math. I felt lost. I felt ashamed. I felt scared because everyone around me was seeming to understand this concept of abstract algebra and other courses that I just wasn't getting. And I understood the fear, the frustration, the anxiety that caused me. And I was like, I don't want anyone to feel this way and blame it on math, because it's not math's fault. It's the fact that I didn't have the prerequisite knowledge for that class. I didn't take the time as I was going through these classes to fully understand the concepts. Rather, I was doing it just to get these classes done. Because I was like, I'm ready to graduate. Let's do this. Let's take 19 credits a semester to get this done in 3 years. Chop, chop, people. I sped myself through math classes, passing, with some of them, the lowest score possible. Literally the lowest passing score you can get is a 69.5%. And guess what I got in one of my classes? A 69.5%. I sped through classes and I pushed myself to move at a faster pace than I was ready for. I put myself in a situation where I struggled with math. I didn't ask for a lot of help. And so I stuck myself in this hole, in this place of struggle. I was on the struggle bus. You know, for the longest time, I thought the saying was struggle bucket. I don't know why, but I was saying I'm carrying the struggle bucket today. So, if you want to use something else than I'm on the struggle bus, feel free to start the trend of I'm carrying around the struggle bucket today. No idea where that came from. Anyway, I had enough sense in my brain looking back on those situations to know that I didn't hate math. I hated the way I felt because I didn't understand. And I want to help other people make that connection of you don't hate math, you hate the way you feel because you didn't understand the math, or because of the experience you had with the teacher or your classmates, or a situation surrounding your math experience. And we can fix the understanding by going back and figuring out where is that pocket that we missed in the understanding. Whether it's all the way back in 2nd grade talking about multiplication and division and whatever else you learn in 2nd grade math. Or if it's in 7th grade math talking about integers, positive and negative numbers. If we can find where you are struggling and what the root of the problem is, we can figure out how to help you succeed in mathematics. And this works for anything. Like, math is not the only subject that this concept works for. Anytime you are struggling or not understanding something, going back to the beginning, figuring out what step did I miss will help you understand what you can do to help you in the future of anything you set your mind to. So by going through this process with Sabrina and walking through, I wanted to record the podcast because of repurposing content, to get over my fear that no one wants to hear what I have to say. And then my business is to help equip teachers and parents who have students struggling with on-grade level math gain confidence in their academic abilities. But it's more than that. To gain confidence in academic abilities, whether it's math, reading, any subject, or anything, we have to have a growth mindset. And we have to have a self-awareness of the situations that we are in and that we have been in the past and see them through a lens of what actually happened. And sometimes we can't see that for ourselves and we need outside perspective in order to see things the way they are, the truth of the situation. And that's okay. We weren't meant to live life on our own. We are social beings and we need other people to help us through life. So overall, my goal with this podcast is to help shift our mindset as a culture, as a teacher community, as people in general, raising the next generation of humans, that we can do anything through growth mindset, the right experiences, and understanding the situations we are in and having a self-awareness. And I know some of you are like, Johanna, I will never be good at math. I have always been bad at it, blah, 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 blah. That's okay. Stick with me. We will dive into mindset. We will dive into strategies to help the future generation to overcome those limiting beliefs. So, join me on this journey of math, self-awareness, growth mindset, and excitement for what the future holds. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. To find all the links and resources to things talked about in this episode, head on over to MissKuipersClassroom.com and click on podcast. And until next time, I'll leave you with this. The best angle from which to approach a problem is the triangle.